Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads, and today I have for you my May pile of possibilities. So first of all, I cannot believe we're in May. Like, when did that happen? It seems like, excuse me, January seems far ago, like a while ago, but it also seems not so long ago. Um, so I have May, I feel like is more loosey-goosey with my reading. I'm not doing a readathon. Um, I I I am doing a readathon in April. I'm doing the old school April readathon, and I really don't feel like I've heavy duty participated in it. And I think that's because previous few months I've done readathons, and March I really hit hard, middle grade March and Ramathon, and so now I'm just kind of burning out on readathons. And also, April was kind of hard. We had, first of all, it's state testing. That's always hard. And then we also had something happen at school that was hard. And so I did a whole lot of mood reading in April. So May, I decided, you know what? It's the last, like, we have 3.5 full weeks of school, and then we've got finals week. So it's the final push. I've got 5 seniors on my caseload who are graduating, and I'm trying to make sure, like, are you doing the things that you're doing so you can graduate on time? So I was just like, I don't want to commit to a lot of things. In addition, when a student has an IEP and they're scheduled to graduate, we meet again before they graduate. And what we do is we talk about, and the reason why I'm sharing this information, I need to back up and interrupt. The reason why I share this information is just so that way, if you know someone with an IEP, if your child has an IEP, or if you have a friend with a child with an IEP, or you yourself have an IEP, whatever the circumstances may be, I try to explain this just so that way you're aware of the process. Because I know it can be a complicated process, and we really don't want it to be a complicated process. So I just want to make sure people have information. So basically, anytime someone is scheduled to graduate and they have an IEP, we meet again before they graduate just to talk about, here were the goals that we were working on that related to their life outside of high school. So they have to have transition goals. And then we talk about what were the accommodations that they use at school, and then what are some accommodations that they might need should they continue on with their education, whether it's at college, a trade school, a technical school. Will they need accommodations to help them be successful there? Will they need accommodations if they have a job? And if so, what are those accommodations? What accommodations will they need if they were to live independently and have an apartment by themselves? What accommodations would they need to participate in the community, having a social life? So for example, if a student doesn't drive, like, we give them resources like, here's how you access Uber, or here's how you access the public transportation. So we have that kind of meaning, so that way leaving high school isn't quite so scary or overwhelming. So I have 5 students who are slated to graduate. So 5 more meetings, and that's fine. It's my job. I have no problem doing that. But I just know that May is going to be a busier month for me as I'm trying to juggle those meetings, stay on top of grading, which it's the never-ending battle. Finals, then we have to do our final progress reports on IEP goals. So it's a busy month. So I'm trying to be flexible in my reading plans. That being said, let's dive into my possibilities. Again, this can change. I know for sure one book that I for sure will be reading in May. And that book is The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. And Corrie ten Boom is the daughter, and she was a Dutch watchmaker, and she lived in Holland during World War II. And this is her story about how she and her family helped hide Jews from Nazis. And it is eventually revealed to the Nazis that she was helping them, or helping Jews, and she ends up herself in a concentration camp. And this is her story. So this fits the 52 book club prompt for reading a nonfiction book recommended to you by a friend. I've been meaning to read this for years and years, and I just haven't. But Krista over at Books and Jams is doing kind of a read-along book club on her channel, and I will be participating in that with her. So I'll be sharing information on when those live discussions are. So I'm excited to read this, and I'm also excited to be part of those discussions, and I hope that that you will join us in that. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I've heard wonderful things about this. Another book I plan on reading, although I will not finish it, is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm on page 236, and you can see I do annotate my books, like the heavier, denser fantasy books. And I started reading this, and then something happened in April, and my brain just was not willing to process. This is a slower start back into it. I feel like Brandon Sanderson, he's got rhythms where like it's a slow start and then it's a build, and then everyone know, if you know Brandon Sanderson, you know there's a Sanderlanche the last 150 pages of the book. And so it's a slower start again, and we're coming off a pretty climactic event in Words of Radiance, and so between all that and managing all the different point of views and what's happening and just what happened in April, I just was really struggling to read this. I do want to read this. I for sure will finish this in June, but this is not, I want to make maybe 300 page of progress in this, but if I don't finish it, that's okay. This is 1,233 pages. This is 10 pages shorter than Count of Monte Cristo. Count of Monte Cristo took me over 2 months to read, so this is okay that I'm a little slower in this. Then I also do want to read Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I loved Red Rising when I read it in March, so I want to continue that on. And I'm looking forward to following Darrow and just his story of being a red on Mars and learning, and this isn't very spoilery because this happens pretty quickly in the book, just he's a red and he learns that what he's been told all his life, like you're mining in the underground on Mars to help plan and prepare Mars to be colonized, for humans to settle and live on Mars. And he finds out that that's been a lie, and really he is a slave. And so he is trying to plot and be part of the resistance to that movement. So I'm looking forward to reading more of this. I really liked Red Rising, and we shall see from there. I also am hoping to carry on in my ACOTAR readings. I just had a brain fart on the order of the books. I read A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin this month. Loved them. And so I'm looking forward to reading this. I know it's short, which is why I'm looking forward to reading it. I know this isn't everyone's favorite, but I'm looking for something lighter. Again, it's going to be a month. I have something like every weekend too. So then I'm also looking forward to hopefully getting to The Tropic of Serpents by Marie Brennan. I read the first book in the memoirs of Lady Trent, not last year, the year before last year. And I loved it. And I just have not continued on with the series. I have the entire series. It is time. I need to continue on with it. But I love it. So it's basically following Marie Trent, not Marie Trent. What is her first name? Isabella. I combined the author Marie Brennan and Lady Trent. So this follows Isabella Trent, and she In the first book, she loves dragons and she wants to um, be a naturalist. She wants to be able to study them, document them, learn from them, and she can't because she is a female living in like Victorian times, and that's not what females do back then. And so she's trying to fight that and also live her passions and dreams. Now I want you to take a look at how beautiful that illustration is. These illustrations remind me of like Audubon, and there are illustrations throughout the book like this. They're not in color, unfortunately, but they're still beautiful. I will say this, from what I understand, the audiobooks are delightful. I have not listened to them on audio because new books, I cannot follow along with reading on audio. So I think if I were to ever do a reread of these, I for sure would listen to them on audio. Then I also hope to read A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This for sure is on my Our Fantasy Bingo for A Tale with a Bard in it. It's also on the 52 Book Club, and I can't remember what the prompt was for it. But this, I just heard delightful, beautiful things. I don't know too much about the magic system or the premise of it. I would have to sit and read this flap. But from what I understand, it's an enemies to partners. They might turn into lovers. I don't know. But I read Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. Love her writing style, and I've heard wonderful things about A River Enchanted and A Fire Endless. Sorry, I had to look at my bookshelves to remember the title of the second book. So I'm hoping to get to this. This has been on my TBR for some months, so I need to buckle down and get it done. Okay, and then here's where things get tricky and I can play around and move around things. I do need to read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow at some point in time by Gabrielle Zevin. The reason why is for the 52 Book Club, one of the prompts is read a book where there's a palindrome in the title. And now, yes, if you read go letter by letter and start backwards, then it's not a palindrome. But if you read by word, it's a palindrome. All I really understand about this book is that it's about like RPG video gaming. It was the book of the year. I've heard good things about it, so we shall see. And last, and again, for sure last, because I just don't know if I'll get to it, and I think this will be a more of a dense read for me, as far as like style and stylistically. That would be A Gentleman in Moscow by Amar Towles. And for the 52 Book Club, the book is, the prompt is that the book is set in a city that starts with M, obviously Moscow. And this follows Count Alexander Rostov. And in 1922, he is deemed an unrepentant aristocrat by the Bolshevik tribunal. And so he is sentenced to house arrest. And he, I guess, this is just the story of his life. I believe this has been made into a movie or a series. I don't know. So if it has been, I need to know what streaming service it's on because I need to watch it then. But I do need to read this. I have all of his books and I just have not read them. I just grabbed them because I've heard how wonderful he is. So I'm looking forward to reading him. And that is that. So yeah, so the reason why this month for sure I'm like, it's just gonna be pile possibilities is April has been just full on read what makes me happy, and that my TBR just kind of went out the window. So yeah, I just didn't know if that mood would carry over through to May or not. But of those books that you have seen, is there anything that I need to prioritize? What are you looking forward to reading in May? And again, I hope to see you in on Krista's channel over at Books and Jams for our discussions on The Hiding Place by Corey ten Boom. And again, when I have more details for that, I'll post that information in the community tab. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.